What's going on, YouTube? Legend here once again, this time at you again with some more Honkai Star Rail, and Sparkle's coming. Sparkle's right around the corner. She's coming this week, actually. I just watched the trailer for her. Actually, after some thought, I actually think I fully understand what was going on there, so that was pretty interesting, you know? She's one of my favorite characters coming. But for those of you who guys are excited for her too, you guys are going to need to start prepping for her. So let's go over the stuff that you need in order for her to get her up and running for you. Guys, I will say, it seems like 95% of you that watch my videos are not subscribed. So listen, that's actually kind of it's a pretty high number. So, you know, if you do like my content, definitely do subscribe to the channel so you can get more content from me here.
The one wearing the veil. That's Sparkle.
Different materials that you're going to need when it comes to Sparkle. To get this stuff nice and ready, I always think it's good to pre-farm for these characters. And what you're gonna need is about 3 million or so credits. The number that you need is not gonna be the same for everybody because it depends on what you plan on bringing your traces up to. I'm gonna max her out, so I'm gonna need more than 3 million. I'm gonna need more. I'm gonna get her light cone too. So I'm gonna need around 4 million to completely max her out and everything like that. But she's not somebody that needs to be maxed out. You're not like, you know, I'm just doing it because she's one of my favorites. On average, people are going to need about 3 million credits. And then on top of that, in order to level her up completely, you're going to need about 310 experience books, the purple ones. So these purple books right here, you're going to need about 310 of those guys. And then you're going to need about 65 of these Dream Flamer boss materials. Right now, I still got some farming to do. But you need about 65 of those. In order to get her fully leveled up too, right? Usually not something that's hard to do. You can get those in a couple days. Like if you start farming these today, you'll have them soon. You also need these things called Shards of Desire and the smaller versions of it, like Fragments of Impression and Tattered Thoughts. So you get these from those mirror-looking beasts in the dream world and the dreamscape, the real dreamscape. So you're actually gonna need to farm these, all right? Because a lot of us might be used to is previously we had so many of these materials killing all the enemies, going through all the new content when the game was new, and we're able to accumulate a lot of these things without ever have to worry about farming them, really, at least for me. But since we just got to Penacony, you gotta make sure that you want to have enough of these. So until she comes, you want to start farming the overworld a little bit. I mean, just doing it this week should be enough. You don't need to be farming it continuously like that. But, you know, farm it this week enough. Maybe send one of your assignments out, you know, to go farm that up too. But just so you know, there's a good chance that a lot of us don't have enough of these materials. So you want to make sure you have that in order. And then, of course, the Harmony Essential Materials. We're not using the old Harmony ones anymore like these. We're actually using these new ones for Penacony. So you want to make sure you farm that up. I need a whole lot more if I want to max her out. It all depends on how many traces that you want. I'd say, you know, a safe bet would be get around 100 of these or so, and then 69 of these things, and about 22 of these. You want to make sure you have those. And then, of course, this is the boss material that she does use too for the weekly boss. So you want to make sure you have that too. I mean, most of us should have it if we've been playing the game regularly. And we've unlocked this boss, then yeah, make sure you have that. Good thing about Star Rail is that you can just, if you don't have them, you can just do this boss 3 times in a row and you'll be good to go, all right? So no problem there, no problem there at all. But that's essentially what the materials that you do need for her. But now let's talk about
The one in the mirror. That's Sparkle.
light cones. Now, light cones for Sparkle, she actually has a good amount of options. Mind you, I personally think that there's only a certain amount that you should use. She can use a lot of the options that you have. Like, let's say if she doesn't have the ones I recommend the most, no problem there. You can kind of slap most of them on her. But I do think there's some that stick out above the rest. One of which being is her light cone. Now, her signature light cone is pretty cracked. I believe they should be posting her light cone anytime now. They might post it when they post her demo up, but her light cone is actually, I think her light cone is fantastic. I actually think it's a very, very valuable light cone to have because it helps out the team. It gives a team crit rate, it gives a team crit damage. Granted, I'm not showing you the stats here because I don't have any images for that.
Because he has the eye of the tiger.
He does have the eye of the tiger.
Are you sure about that?
But it's going to do a lot. It's going to raise a team's crit rate and crit damage. It's going to raise Sparkle's crit damage. And she's going to be able to keep the uptime on that consistently because it's made for her. So it's a phenomenal light cone, and I actually do recommend it if you are able to get light cones. But if not, don't worry about it because we have a lot of characters coming that have pretty high priority. So if you can't get it, then don't worry about it, right? But because you do have other options, one of which being is Bronya's light cone. Bronya's light cone is also a great pick because one is going to give you energy regeneration rate, which, I mean, I say great because of that, but that really doesn't matter because when energy regeneration rope, she's getting 3-turn ults consistently, so she doesn't need this, and that's not enough to give her a 2-turn ult. So yeah, but it is going to give you that skill point, right? So she's going to be able to regenerate an extra skill point for the team. Sparkle, a lot of the time, is going to be bringing the person that she buffs with her skill right up next. She's going to be doing a lot. She's not going to be doing as much as Bronya is, but most of the time that's what's going to be happening. And then that means that character is going to be able to get that 30% damage boost, which is also going to be, you know, pretty fantastic. Another light cone that I think is going to be fantastic on her is going to be Dance, 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 of course. Whether you have this S1 or S5, I only have S1 because I just got my first one on this current Black Swan banner. Only got one of them, but you know, that's okay. But this is, of course, a fantastic light cone because she is going to be bringing the whole, because she's going to be able to burst a lot. And she's going to be able to burst a lot. That means that she's going to be constantly bringing the team forward. And that actually is a really good ability to have going on. You know, it speeds up your team quite a bit. So that is definitely going to be a good pick for her. One of the top ones. And then we got Past and Future, which is like the beta version of Bronya's light cone, where it just basically does the damage boost to the person who goes next. And she's going to be able to take advantage of that quite a bit. So those are light cones that I really recommend. I feel that if you have one of those, then you can put one of those on. And then there's the others that you can use that I don't fully recommend, but you can use them if you want. Like Planetary Rendezvous, that's good if you use her with Xing Shui or Sealy, but for anybody else, it's not going to work for. Like Don Hong, so on and so forth. A lot of people want to use her with Don Hong. This one right here has some RNG involved. I don't actually, a lot of people hate this light cone, but I actually don't mind it because I mean the buffs that it gives are all, you know, pretty good. So I don't really see the fault in it, but a lot of people don't like it. But I think it's pretty good, but I don't rank it up with the others. Yeah, and then there's this new one here, which I actually don't like it. I don't like this one here because it only buffs the action that their wearer is taking. If you're using her with Sparkle with Don Hong and use her skill, and Don Hong is going to use his basic attack, like it's not going to buff him, you know. And I just don't like it. I don't like it whatsoever. But I mean, if you're using someone like Sealy, then it'll go good with Sparkle and Sealy. But no, I don't like it. I don't like it too much at all. So yeah, so that's when it comes to light cones. So if you want to use one of those, then that is a good spot to go.
I'm not Sparkle. No. I am Sparkle.
Now we can talk about her relics. So for the relics for her, this is actually pretty interesting in my opinion. Because of course you're going to want to put the messenger set on her, right? The speed set. But I wouldn't get too attached to it. It's not that important to have it on her, right? Because yeah, the speed that she gives the team is pretty great, pretty awesome. She's going to be able to activate quite a bit. But if you don't have it, if you don't have the 4-piece of that, don't fret about it. Don't even worry about the set bonus if that's the case. Because what I feel was more important with Sparkle is to make sure that she's fast and make sure that she has a lot of crit damage. And then of course the subsequent defensive stats. So if you can't get a set bonus on her, don't worry about it and just make sure she has a 2-piece on to increase her own speed and go from there. But you just want to make sure she has as much speed and as much crit damage as she possibly can. I mean, granted for me, like I have it set up so, I mean, the fastest I can really get her is on the 4-piece messenger set. So I have it on there, and like it is the best set to have on her because she's going to be able to do that for the team. But you want to make sure you have that on her. And then of course, the Broken Keel set for the 2-piece is going to be the best fit for her also, because she's going to be able to give the team even more crit damage. I mean, but you can always do the supportive sets. Like I actually do think Von Whack is going to go pretty well with her. So even though the 5% energy regeneration doesn't really matter for her, but the fact that she advances forward at the beginning and she can just bring the DPS up is pretty great. I mean, unless you want to make sure you get what other buffs or debuffs on the enemy and such. But I mean, the main buffer on the team is Sparkle. So having her to make sure that she gets the DPS to go first and you always get the first move, that's pretty great. That's pretty awesome. So I do like that set on her too. There's always the Penacony set too. The Penacony set where, you know, if you're using her with QQ or if you're using her with Sealer, then that's gonna work there too. Sets like that, like Planetary Rendezvous and Penacony, I typically don't like it myself because I want to use that support with multiple different units. To me, it's a waste to build up a set that I'm going to know I'm going to have to switch as soon as I switch for another unit. I'd rather just look for a set that's more universal. But a lot of people don't have a whole bunch of units on their account. So yeah, if it fits for you, then Penacony is the thing. I just don't care for it too much. I just like more universal things. Then you can also put something like Fleet of the Ageless on here. So, you know, gives her a little bit of tankiness, gives the team some attack. So yeah, so that's another option that you can do too. Broken Kill is still #1 in my book. Some people might ask about this set, the Celestial Differentiator, because it gives some crit damage. No, don't like it too much. I don't recommend it whatsoever. I would say just do Broken Kill, because Broken Kill is going to give you some effect res. Just make sure you have the 30% to activate it. I would not worry about that set whatsoever. Do not recommend it. But Broken Kill is where it's at. So there we go. That's right. So that is what I say for when it comes to her relics. And then when it comes to the main stats, of course, you know, you're going to want crit damage for the body 100% of the time. You don't want anything else. You want crit damage for the body. No HP, no defense, none of that. Crit damage, because that's what she gives to that is how she buffs. So you want to do that. Speed boots, without a doubt. No matter what, speed boots, because you want her to be fast. It's not like Bronya where you want slow Bronya or fast Bronya. For Sparkle, it is just, you want her fast. You want her fast as possible. You want her faster than the DPS, because every time she goes, the DPS can go. So you want that. And then for the sphere, you want defense or HP percent, whichever you can get higher speed and or crit damage on. So there's that. And then of course, energy regeneration rope. With that allows you to do a 3-turn ult. Without it, you might not be able to do it. So make sure you get the energy regen rope onto her. And yeah, that's how you prep for the relics right there.
Who's the real Sparkle?
And that's mostly what you want to do to be able to prepare for Sparkle. In terms of Eidolons, of course, Eidolons for Sparkle, like I always say in a lot of these prep videos, if you want to prepare for Eidolons, I mean, that's just money. You know, you're just going to have to make sure, like, money or you saved up, right? There's no prep when it comes to that. But maybe in a later video, I'll talk about E1 versus S1. And then we can talk about Eidolons a little bit more in depth. But yeah, in terms of how to prep for her, those are mainly the points I wanted to hit on. If I feel like if I'm missing anything, definitely ask me down in the comments down below. Because a lot of you may know, I do answer all of your questions when it comes to the comment section there. So if you have any questions about Sparkle, definitely let me know. On my previous video where I talked about Acheron and Aventurine and everything like that, a lot of people had questions and I was happy to answer every single person. So if you want to take a look at that, if you want to ask questions down here, feel free. I'll answer it. I got you. All right. And like the video if you like the content I do give you. And if you do find me helpful, if you do like what I'm doing here for you, then definitely subscribe. Subscribe to the channel so I can keep helping and I know I'm doing a good job. All right. So with that under here, legend up.